Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to look at a single day, April 6th, 2026, a day that shows us two completely different worlds happening all at once. So check this out. On this one single day, you've got the Artemis II crew pushing humanity's boundaries farther than ever before. At the same time, back on Earth, we were basically holding our breath. A 24-hour deadline for military action against Iran was just about to expire. So one world was looking up at the stars, while the other was staring right at the brink of war. You know that feeling of whiplash, where you see this incredible story of progress, and then the very next second, you're hit with a massive crisis? Well, that's what we're talking about today. All right, let's dive into this. Yeah, we're calling it news whiplash, and to really get our heads around it, we're going to pick apart the events of just this one day, because hiding in all these contradictions, you can actually find the story of the world we're all living in right now. So, let's start with one side of this whiplash. The stories that were cranking up the tension, creating this sense of unease all over the globe, from huge international standoffs to conflicts hitting much closer to home. At the global level, things were incredibly tense. This warning from the White House wasn't just some vague threat. It made military action feel like it could happen, tonight. It really put the entire world on notice. And at the exact same time, you could see this tension in policy proposals. The administration was putting forward these massive, sweeping cuts to the very agencies that are responsible for science and progress. We're not talking about a little trim here and there. These were huge slashes to funding for everything from space exploration to tech standards. And this feeling of tension, it wasn't just this big, abstract thing happening on the world stage. No, it was filtering right down into local communities. In Kenosha, for example, the big headline was a homicide case, just a stark reminder of conflict and fragility right there at home. And then just a few miles away, you had stories of violence literally unfolding on the city's streets. A police chase that ends in a rollover and a shooting on the interstate. And it didn't stop there. Even our civic institutions were in full-on crisis mode. The teachers' union in Milwaukee was in this very public fight over budget cuts that they called chaotic, which just goes to show you the deep divisions right inside the community's school system. So if you stop right there, you get this incredibly tense, fractured picture of the world, right? But here's the thing. That isn't the whole story of the day. Not even close. Okay, so now let's flip the script and look at the other side of April 6th. Because while all of that heavy stuff was going on, there were also these incredible stories of human achievement and just simple, powerful connection making headlines. So while parts of the world teetered on the edge of conflict, these four astronauts were doing the exact opposite. They were expanding our world. The Artemis II crew was literally making history, traveling farther from Earth than anyone ever, and sending back these absolutely breathtaking new pictures of the moon. And here's where the contradiction just smacks you in the face. While one part of the government was proposing to gut science funding, international health leaders were celebrating its life-saving power. Why? Because it was World Health Day, a global shout-out to science as a massive force for good. And the numbers, wow, they're just staggering. On this day, the World Health Organization put out a reminder that over the last 50 years, vaccines alone, a triumph of science, have saved more than 154 million kids. It's such a profound contrast to those budget proposals we were just looking at. And of course, for millions of people, the main focus was somewhere else entirely. The biggest drama of their day wasn't happening in space or in Washington, D.C., it was happening on a basketball court. This was a shared cultural moment, right? Just pure competition and entertainment that had absolutely nothing to do with any of those other headlines. So, how on earth do you make sense of these wildly different realities coexisting? Well, it starts when you realize they don't just happen on the same day, they happen in the same places to the same people. And this is where it all comes together. This timeline, from a single day in Milwaukee, shows that news whiplash in miniature. You get a report of gunfire, then news of civic progress. A fire at a casino, then a community celebration. A new ship arriving. Crisis and progress aren't just happening on the same day globally, they're happening on the same streets, just hours apart. This isn't just about one really chaotic day. It's a snapshot of the world we live in now. We are constantly navigating these fragmented, parallel realities. And living like this, it has real effects. It can make us feel anxious or maybe even a little numb to all of it. If you really think about it, on April 6th, we were all living in at least 4 different worlds. There's the world of global conflict, the world of incredible human achievement, the world of just everyday local life with all its own ups and downs, and the world of shared culture and distraction.
These aren't separate stories. They're all just happening at once, in layers.
And that's the real challenge for all of us, right? To hold these contradictory truths in our head at the same time. The day we reached for the stars was the same day we threatened to tear ourselves apart. The day we celebrated science saving lives was the same day we proposed to defund it.
So it leaves us with this final, really crucial question. This constant whiplash, it can totally skew our perception of what's actually going on. So in a world that gives us simultaneous marvels and crises, how do we choose what matters? What's the real story of our time? That's something to think about as we navigate the news of tomorrow.